level channel, and in this 11 CSS tutorial I'm gonna teach you 6 powerful styles you must know when styling some HTML text using CSS. In your interaction with HTML tags, you must have noticed that each tag has its own predefined text styles. For instance, heading 1 has the font is bold and the font size is also large. All the paragraphs begin on a new line. Those are the default text styles in the tags. A tag like I for italics, the text behaves like italicized. The same apply to EM for emphasis. Those are the predefined styles for those tags. The text still behave like an italicized text. We can do this by our custom styles using the CSS, and for this case I will gonna teach you these 6 basic styles that you must know in styling this text. For text color, the default color in HTML is black. To customize this color, we use CSS, and we want to use heading 1 for example. Just write the keyword color, and color you can use all the formats of color. For example, use of the color name. You see the text is changing to red, RGB color. Hope you know the syntax. 255 will be green. Now the text changes to green. Each paragraph has a class, paragraph 1 up to paragraph 6. You can identify by the class name. Just write dot that paragraph, for example 1. If I want to use hexadecimal, just start with hash and assign a color blue. The text color remain blue. For text alignment, we have 3 basic properties. Text alignment itself, which is a technique of repositioning these texts at horizontal level. We have the right, left, centered, and justified. Then we have text direction. This is a technique of flipping the text, and it has a 2 paired properties which were introduced in CSS2 version. The direction property, which can be right to left. Each letter in the word is flipped from left to right using the Unicode by the property. Vertical alignment. This one will apply to other HTML elements. It behaves like the text alignment but only for the text, and this one for other HTML elements like an image. The last one I'll just explain later in the other tutorials. It's not very applicable here. I'm only dealing with the text. So it has the properties like top, right, and bottom. Let's start with the text alignment. For instance, I want to align the paragraph 1 with the right, alignment at the center. Now because each paragraph has a different or a unique class, you can just set the paragraph 1, just write text align property, and the value is right. You see the text is going to the right side. Use paragraph 2 this time round. Text align is toward the left. Then use the center. Text will align itself at the center. The default text aligns is toward the left. So that's the default in HTML. In CSS, it was predefined like this. So this paragraph 3 will just remain to the left side of this screen. For text justification, it ensures that the width of each line in the text is equal. I will create a dummy div here, for example. Along there is a small history of myself. You can create your own. I will just include a border property, 2 pixels, solid black. I will assign some width for it to be fixed, 200 pixel. Text is wrapped in that one. Apply some paddings, 10 pixel. There are some padding of the texts. At the end of each line, the width of each line is not equal. So the work of justify, the last letter they are aligned. It stretches each line to an equal width. Under text direction, I will use these 2 paired values, direction and Unicode binding. Just selected the paragraph to right direction, and the value is, for instance, right to left, RTL. Fresh, it behaves like the text align right. Want to flip each text like a mirror. The Unicode ID. This one was introduced in HTML in CSS2. Its value will be body override. You see the text is flipping. Text direction is used to set or remove some text decorations. We have none, overline, underline, line through. A link by default is underline. This is an example of a visited link. It is underlined. Now we can remove that underlining property by CSS. Text decoration is set to none or will not be underlined. That's how we can customize the links all the paragraphs to be underlined. Text decoration is underlined. So all paragraph in this field will be underlined. Overline will be line at the top border, and you can figure out how HR works. So that's how it was predefined in HTML. We have another one we call line through. Line through behaves like a striked one. A deleted text is not recommended when striking through the text, and also underlining a text that is not a link. It normally confuses the users. Text transformation is a property that allows you to change the case letters. For instance, either to uppercase letter or lowercase letter or capitalize. We can use heading 1 for instance, write text transform to lowercase. So you'll see my heading is changing to lowercase letters. You can use the same for uppercase. Case, just write in small letters. So my heading 1 will be capitalized to uppercase letters. I can use this time round for capitalization and write text transform capitalizer. So I want you to observe what will happen on this paragraph 1. Capitalize the beginning of each letter in the word. For text spacing, we have round text indentation, letter spacing, line, word, and white. Text indentations, so this is my paragraph. I'll just declare a div here, text indent, and just assign with any value. Example 60 pixel, and they are used to create paragraphs when writing compositions and other essays. For the letter spacing, we have some default space between the characters in a text. For instance, between M and Y, we have a default space. So to customize this, just write letter spacing and assign some values. Example 2 pixel. You see the spacing between the letters. 20, absolutely big. The next one is a line. Line is the space between the lines, first line and the second line. So there are also a default space as specified by the line height. Play around between the 0 to 1. Example 0.2. So it is even overriding on each other. 0.25. So that's how the spacing is. The paragraph tags have their default line height. The next is the word spacing, which involves the space between the words in a text. For example, my and name. This space is what we call the word spacing. You just write word spacing and assign some values. Let me start with 20 pixel for instance. So it will space each word in this paragraph. So you can see the word my and name, this space is enlarged up to the end. If I use a negative value, they will overlap on each other, reduce that space. That's 10. Finally, the last property is white space. It ensures that there is no line breaks. For example, when you resize this browser, you will see the breaks of each line. Now to avoid that, we use the no wrap. We'll make sure that this text is on one line. One of the role of this white space that it is space economical. Let me try to add a border. Notice that this text is going beyond the border. We can add overflow, set to hidden. So if I refresh, this text will be contained within this border or within the screen. Even if I minimize text overflow, clip is the default, so you may not notice the changes, but ellipses, it will alert the users that some text are in the progress or are not visible. So it adds 3 dots at the end of the line. Finally, is on the text shadow, allows you to add some shadow on the text. I want to use this heading, write the word text shadow. We shall skew this text along the XY dimension. For example, 3 pixel on both X and Y. So you will see that text has been skewed. Now to customize the color, just add the color specification. You see a black shadow. To add a blur, you just add another dimension. Let me say, for instance, 6 pixel, and you see how the text has been. Let me see you in the next tutorial for CSS fonts or the text font.